Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glen Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and international supporters' view. This week, we'll be looking at the Liverpool match from last weekend and the match away at Palace due on the 28th of December. A lot to get through, so let's get on with it.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Glenn, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. It's Christmas Eve here, so we're recording approximately an hour later than we should have, owing to a Christmas emergency where our shop had what we needed, but it was a 15-minute drive away, not a 2-minute walk where I'd normally go. But yeah, on the whole, pretty good. The weather's not really cooperating for Christmas, but go ahead, mate. What are you going to say?
When your mum isn't with you, is she still working at Mark's?
No, she retired.
Okay.
So she retired, was it last July, I think, July 2024.
Okay.
In fact, and we have some history on this, of course. Your daughter worked for my mum.
Yeah.
And I need to make sure, and we may as well do it now, we're on air, whatever. My mum keeps asking, when you next see Graham, please ask him what Charlotte's up to, because she always likes to check in on her people that work for her. So what's Charlotte doing?
She's a sales team leader for an online learning company in
Awesome.
Bracknell.
Okay,
She's
I'll let
doing,
mum
she's
know.
doing very well for herself.
Yeah.
So, but nice.
Well, we were
nice.
laughing because she knows obviously we do the pod and stuff, and we were laughing that there was that weird connection. You were over to mine for dinner in Denver, and
So
we worked
strange.
out that Charlotte worked for my mum. So
we had our we couldn't actually get a delivery slot for food shopping, so we yesterday was going to do a click and collect from Tesco's for like. But what happens in the morning? You get the Tesco's order, and you know what substitutions you got and what things weren't available.
Yeah.
So as a backup plan, on the way to pick it up, I dropped Heather off at Mark's to go and pick up the bits that weren't in the shopping order, and then I went and got all the rest of the stuff. But it took us about an hour, just queuing. It was obviously busy. Everyone's doing it. It's carnage.
You can be rest assured it's a global phenomenon. I was in Costco yesterday, the 23rd for me, to pick up a load of pastries for an event I was running this morning with a group that everyone knows I'm a part of, I think, on Wednesday mornings. I think I heard the F word in the line. People were just over it.
Yeah, but you would expect it in an Australian version of Costco.
Yeah, so it's pretty chaotic. But no, on the whole, pretty good, mate. Ready as we can be for Christmas. Can't quite believe it's Christmas Day tomorrow. But how about you, mate?
So there'll be the 5 of you for Christmas this year, or
5 of us. We're going to do some morning here, and then we're going to my mate Gareth, who's also a Spurs fan, and he's also a chef. So we tend to get it pretty often.
Just convenient, yeah.
Yeah, very convenient. And all we really have to do is rock up with wine and beer, and then we split the grocery bill. We just pay for what we owe, and he cooks everything. So it's a bit of a win-win. Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
So yeah, but how about you, mate? I know obviously you've had what we covered. You've had some sad news in your family, but are you going to be together for Christmas?
We've got, so Josh is already here. He arrived this afternoon, picked him up from the station, and he's here now till right the way through Christmas. And then on Christmas Day, we've got Charlotte and Tom, her boyfriend, coming round as well. So there'll be 6 of us for Christmas dinner, which would be quite nice. And then on the 27th is my wedding anniversary.
Oh, mine's the 27th of November. So there you go.
Yeah, so it's quite nice because we got married in Frimley at Frimley Hall Hotel.
Yep.
And it was all done up with Christmas decorations, so that was quite nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then on the 28th, I've got Thomas and his girlfriend coming down as well, Keely. So that'll be nice. So we'll have 9 for dinner that day. So that'll be really good. And the only person who can't make it is Charlie, my daughter. She's working shifts at hospital, so she won't be able to make it, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I will see her on the 29th when we have my brother's funeral. So
yeah.
So the ones that I don't get to see will all be there as well. So that'll be quite nice. Get a chance to see my nephew and sister-in-law and that as well. So it's going to be a busy Christmas, quite a lot on. And then I've got another week after that till I go back to work.
Yeah.
And feels like I've been off for about 2 months already.
Well, probably makes it feel even longer when you have to endure watching Spurs at the moment.
It doesn't help, does it?
Well, with that said,
yeah,
I I didn't watch the Liverpool game live. I watched it on a delay. I mean, I don't know what your take was, but I thought even before the Xavi incident, which we'll get into in a minute, I thought we were going backwards. I thought that we were on the retreat more than we were going forward. I mean, there were occasions when Porro was almost on the counter and then he would turn around and come backwards, and Kudos was doing the same.
Kudos was driving me nuts. He did it about 3 times. And I was live chatting with Richard and Hamish from the New Zealand supporters, because obviously they were a little bit later than you, so they were
they were
watching live.
6:30 a.m. for them.
So, but I was, and then we talked about it in the previous pod, didn't we? About Kudos always come back in on his left foot, and he did it every time he got the ball. We get a break, so we got the opportunity to hit them while they're in disarray and they've got no shape to them. And he comes back inside, and next thing you know, there's 10 players behind the ball. It was for me so frustrating.
It seems instructional to me. It seems instructional it's almost you get the ball, retain your shape, and then go. And I'm like, but then once you go.
The opportunity's gone by that stage, isn't it?
It's gone.
Or it's been made 10 times harder.
They were there for the taking, like a few times.
This is the frustrating thing for me. They were terrible.
They
were
good.
Not good.
Yeah.
They were not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really disappointed. I mean, again, there's no point in giving them a head start and then, losing players. We just lost our heads a little bit later in the game, didn't we? Could easily have been a lot less players on the pitch. The ref was he was a bit card happy.
Well,
and I felt like he missed some really key incidents, like the push for the second goal was nuts.
Clear foul for me.
Anyone else gives that as a foul, and it's a goal.
Clear foul for me. And I think going back to the Xavi incident, look, I think his stride takes him into that challenge. I don't know that he's out to hurt.
I don't think it was intentional, no.
He's his Dutch captain. I mean, it seems unlikely to me he's got a vendetta.
He's also about half the size of him.
Correct. I thought his stride took him into the challenge. For me, it wasn't a great tackle. There's no way you can say it was a good tackle. He's not near the ball. His studs are technically up, and you slow it down, it looks really bad. It's one of those where it could have been a yellow and a firm telling off. And a lot of people are putting this out on socials. Van Dijk, ironically, did exactly the same to Solanke in the Cup semi-final. The big difference, Graham, there was no VAR in that game. League Cup didn't have VAR. The VAR, let's not forget, VAR gave that. Everyone's going in on the ref.
The ref's seen it because he's seen it enough to give a yellow card, and then they've decided to upgrade it.
They've re-refed it and said, no, it's a red, which that's where I just have a fundamental problem with VAR. It goes back to me, it needs to be, I believe, run in a way not too dissimilar to how the NFL is. You get one call a half. And if you feel you want to leverage your right for that one call, then feel free. As a coach, a captain, you call and you say, we want that reviewed. And then you're done. That's it. It's done for the match. And you each get 1.5. It would avoid a lot of this for me. But the reason the Solanke one wasn't given for me is it wasn't a VAR call. So that's what happened. But Xavi's, look, it was silly. It was one that his strides taking him. He was probably a bit over keen to try and do something. And it's resulted in being sent.
Frustrating for me is that he finally looks like he's getting a bit of momentum into his game, and he's going to be missing for 3 matches now,
which is really frustrating.
Which is all the way. It's Christmas. It's the Palace game, the Sunderland game, and then the FA Cup game.
Brentford.
Oh, Brentford. Yeah,
you got Brentford on New Year's Day at 8 p.m, which is weird.
Yeah. Oh God.
But it's frustrating. And then obviously we still go in 0-0. Because the red card was obviously on 33 mins. But the first goal, I mean, I thought it was pretty poor again defensively from us. We looked pretty passive. But then have you seen Slots coming out and saying that Van der Ven's tackle on Isak to try and block the goal was worthy of either a red?
No, bullshit.
There was no intent there. He's just trying to get the ball.
Is he not allowed to make the tackle? Is that what he's saying?
Often this happens, right?
There was no intent in that. It was literally he has to make a tackle to stop him from getting a shot off.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
And then it's unfortunate that Isak, I think he's broken his tibia, hasn't he?
Something like that. And it's not, I feel sorry for him that he's injured, but there was absolutely no way that you can put the blame of that on Van der Ven. None.
Yeah. And then of course we actually started to look a bit better with 10 men in terms of a bit more fight. A bit more desire.
Yeah,
but then we looked even better with 9 men.
We looked like we had the extra player.
Yeah, correct.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. it's almost like we need our backs to the wall and adversity to rise as a group of players and actually show a bit of fight, which is a real big worry for me in terms of we need that to be really shit for us to come out of ourselves and come out of our shell.
I did say jokingly to Hamish, I think, during the match, that maybe next game we need to start with 9 men on the pitch and only add the 10th and 11th player on in the second half or something.
Well, what did you make of that? Was really, really, really frustrating to me as well. The Romero sending off. This is our captain, by the way, we're talking about. So we've been awarded the free kick and he decides to kick out after being awarded.
So
the
we
free
give away
kick.
the advantage that we get from winning.
Totally
the free kick.
giving away advantage because if he's on the pitch, he's probably going to be in the box causing like a danger. So therefore, he's been sent off. We're then down to 9 men, which then we started to look even more attacking. Fucking weird.
It reminded me of that Chelsea game.
Yeah.
The one where we went down to 9 men as well.
Yeah. But then obviously before the 9 men happens, the Ekitike goal. I mean, do you feel the push was significant enough that it should have been? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
2 hands in his back.
Yeah, it looked.
It's a no-brainer. I still don't. It wasn't even looked at by VAR, was it?
Nah.
I don't understand it.
And look, removing all of that, you factor in the Romero behaviour, the Xavi one there, but just overall, it looked like we were a little bit ill-disciplined. I thought Richarlison was lucky.
Yeah, there could have been more yellows.
Could have been more yellows. And Richarlison, I don't know if you picked up on it when he scored. I don't know who it was on the line.
Whoever was on the ground,
he grabbed him by the neck. I'm like, why are you doing that? Just get back and take the kick off.
He's always looking for trouble, though, isn't he?
Yeah, so overall, a really frustrating game for many, many reasons. The overarching one for me was, with 11 men on the pitch, we never looked like a threat. Then we looked like a threat with 9 men on the pitch. Had we started like that with 11 against that Liverpool team, we might have actually got something more than nothing out of the game. You know,
we're not crafting enough chances, are we? We're just not.
Nah. And then we're
against anyone.
With the Fulham result, we're now 14.
Yeah. We're only 6 points off relegation.
Yeah, which is a big worry.
We're closer to that than we are 4th place.
In previous seasons, if someone said to me, Palace, Brentford, Sunderland, you'd say, oh, okay, that's maybe 7 points, maybe 6 points, maybe 5 points. I'd be happy if we got a point. I just worry about losing all of them. 2 of them are away, by the way. And Sunderland at home, Sunderland are a good team. They're no mugs. They play good football, and they've taken.
They're going to give us a hard time.
Us. Yeah.
And so, I don't fancy a chance against Palace either.
Nah. Yeah. Very, very,
very. It just doesn't got. I'm finding it really hard to really find any positives at the moment.
Yeah. There's very little to be positive about. The Palace game's going to be.
All of the positives from that Liverpool game are really, despite the tactics and the manager, I think. Like Correct. The fight in the second half was nothing to do with Frank, was it? They basically just threw away the rule book and just went for it.
That's what it seemed to me. And if you read into the Van der Ven interview, we know that group of players have previous on that because Ange, right? When they went to Ange and they just went and did what they wanted to do on the pitch. So there's more of that coming through. I don't know. It's interesting about Frank and his future because I had a very different perspective from my brother-in-law, who we will get on as a guest. And he supports Spurs mainly because of me, but he just loves sport, right? So he loves basketball. He doesn't really watch NFL, college football, baseball, and obviously football with Spurs. But he had the differing perspective with Thomas Frank. He's not going to do what he does well in 3 or 4 months. Like, it's a longer term game plan with him. Like, it has to be because of what he's had previously. My concern with that is, whilst I don't disagree with Ryan's viewpoint, I don't know if he'll get the time because fans dictate. And the more toxic it gets, maybe the more it can't go on. Not that I agree with either approach, right? It's if you bin him off, I don't love and revel in the fact that we've got yet another manager to go and find. And if you don't bin him off...
the only thing I would say is that I thought that the home crowd were pretty supportive against Liverpool.
Oh, I thought so too.
But I mean, comparatively, maybe it's just because I wasn't in the crowd. It's like the mood seems to have lifted significantly, which I was quite surprised at because I didn't think that the players gave them that much to celebrate, and they did get booed. I'm not sure whether they were booing the players or whether they were booing the ref. But the ref was shocking, really poor.
He had a poor game, didn't he? And look, it's a funny one with refs and bad decisions. I think these things generally do even themselves out across a season. I really do think that. I don't subscribe to this.
Well, even
school
if you
of thought.
think about that game where Luis Diaz got
Yeah.
brought down, and it should have been a red as well then, shouldn't it? So,
Well, and then there was the VAR call was just a complete farce,
Yeah.
right? And it went our way. So I do think these things tend to even themselves.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to this school of thought there's an agenda against Spurs. I just don't think there
No.
is. I think
I mean,
think
it's
it was
not
just a bad
nothing
day.
like the conspiracy theorists in the Liverpool fans.
Well, this
After
is
any
it.
decision goes anywhere, like
Yeah.
everyone on our team is a murderer,
Yeah.
and their players never do anything wrong.
Yeah,
They're,
yeah. That's
it's
just
just a
101.
constant
101 for Liverpool
battle.
fans. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
thing is, it's not like if we'll moan about a game and then we'll move on to the next game. They will literally die on that hill for the next 12 months.
They want a petition. Like when that happened against VAR, they wanted the game replayed. They wanted apologies.
Yeah.
They wanted a bloody So I don't subscribe to that. I think the referee's had a bad day.
And that's
and
it.
I thought
Move on.
It's been re-ref by VAR for the red card for Xavi, but you just move on. But in saying that, moving on to Palace, it's a tight ground. They're going to be loud. They're not a bad side. They play very compact football. They've got some good players. It's kind of, for me, Forest away all over again. And do we have the fight? Do we have the guts to go there and actually try and get something? I don't know if we do. That's my concern.
Well, we're down on players again, obviously, because of the 2 red cards.
No Xavi, no Romero. Yep.
Yeah, so we're going to be probably Danso. We said we'll probably deputise for Romero.
And do you think he'd play? I mean, Kudus in the 10, and then maybe Johnson plays on the right. I mean,
or Bergvall.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Well, and then Brennan Johnson apparently. I found it really strange. So, by all accounts, he's up for debate if he's going to even be kept.
That Palace are in for him in
Palace
January, right?
For him. Then I was watching. There's a call. It's the Premier League preview show here, which they air on a Friday night in Australia. And Tottenham wheeled him out as the player to be interviewed about how things are going at Spurs. And I'm like,
I think it's great. How would he know? Is it called View from the Bench?
Yeah, I'm like, why is he being asked? So that was weird. Like Tottenham would select him as the player to go and address the media. So maybe he plays. I mean, Danso comes in for Romero, you would think. Udogie's still injured. I mean, Porro, I thought Spence actually played well.
He had a good game. Fair play to him. He did have a good game.
Bentancur, I think Paulinho will probably play against Palace, you would think. I was surprised he didn't start against Liverpool. I thought that was the game you do probably start in. But the lack of creativity in that 11 that's going to be, if you think we're dull,
it's going to be a tough watch, isn't it?
Oh, God.
Palace aren't going to. Palace are they're compact and they break quickly.
Yeah.
So it's going to. And my worry with that is that it will come down to defensive mistakes, and we have shown that we're more than capable of generating those.
Yeah, we've got a lot in our locker as far as errors and mistakes. So
we can drop a bollock or two.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, and I don't know if this is player welfare in mind or just the fact that Boxing Day's fallen in on Friday, but there doesn't seem to be there's no Boxing Day games, right? Or is there maybe one? Because then it goes into
I think there's one in the evening, isn't there?
We don't play until the Sunday, so we play the Sunday, then we play New Year's Day.
All the games are spread out over about. Is it because they're all on? I'm not sure if they're on Prime Video this time in the UK.
So,
or not, but they do seem to be spread over.
Because it used to be you play Boxing Day the 26th, then you play the 28th, and then you play New Year's Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
there's not as many games, that's for sure. Absolutely
which I guess is a good thing, especially with our missing players by injury and suspension.
Yeah.
Do you know what, though? There's been a bit of clamour for Dane Scarlett, like, across the 3 games where we don't have Xavi, could you see him getting a look in? Because he hasn't had a look in since what he did, and he looked bright against Copenhagen. Then the other one is he went to, I think it's double-barreled name Barnett Williams. He was at the World Cup. He was at the Under-20 World Cup of England.
Yeah.
And he's since been on the bench a few times, and he's played in the Under-21s and then made the bench.
The same day.
Yeah.
He scored 5.
Yeah.
And then was on the bench for the game in the evening.
Maybe just for me, it's like, if we're not seeing much of just get him in. Like, give him 20 minutes, give him 25 minutes, start him maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm clutching at straws. Or Mikey Moore, his loan is till the end of the season? Or is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a full season.
And then Vuskovic, end of the season as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't think we need them back at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think we still are struggling with creativity, right? Because
Agreed.
Probably the two most creative players we've got are Xavi, who's now out for 3 matches, who's still finding his way a bit. I think he's still a little bit lightweight. I think for the Premier League, I think it's a tough league.
Yeah.
It's faster. It's more power, and I think that he needs to grow into that a bit more. I don't think there's a problem there. I think there's definitely a player there. It's not like a Brian Gill where I just don't think he's ever going to do it. I think I've seen him throw himself about a bit in games. Yeah.
I remember watching him primarily. I didn't watch a lot of football from the league he was in, but major tournaments, right? So you're talking World Cups and Euros. The Euro semi-final in 2024, England-Holland, he was their best player. He scored. Excellent footballer, right? We know that there's something in there. He's played at the highest level and he's done very well. So it's just finding his feet. And he's only, 24, 23?
I think the difficulty as well is that coming into a struggling side. It's like, I think the injury, I mean, we started the season with no Solanke, right? Yeah. So we and with, Kulusevski, Madison. So we probably first team squad players, a lot of them missing. And so that's been difficult, I think. I can't, if all of our players were fit, I cannot tell you what our 11 would look like. Well, actually, the back five probably picks itself. But from the remaining 5 players, no idea.
Well, and the trouble for me is, like you just mentioned it, going into the Palace game and before that, the lack of creativity is a big concern. But then, is it just the setup as well? Does it matter?
I think that definitely that as well. It's not like.
Yeah,
I think we're not getting enough. We use a lot of width, right? The ball goes out to the wide players a lot, but that only works if you've got someone in making the runs in the middle for them to hit.
Yeah.
And that they're able to get crosses into them. And they're not helping attacking players get into the box. Timing runs is hard when every time you make the run, the player cuts back inside. Yeah. And also when he comes inside, it means that it's a more narrow angle for the cross, correct, right?
Yeah.
So always it's more diagonal than a cross.
I'll be genuinely a bit miffed if we do sell Johnson. I understand why he's not playing because of the system, but he's as close to what we have as a poacher at the moment in terms of if a goal, right?
If we're playing two strikers, maybe just put him up front.
Correct. Like
he's much more likely to hit a run into the box and knock something in, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
him and Richarlison probably would be...
Based off of what you've seen from Moani, if he was available for, say, 40 or 50 mil, would you exercise the buy? Or do you think...
So here's my problem. I don't know how good any of our strikers are under Frank because I don't think they're getting service. I mean, if I can put the ball into good positions for players and they're getting the chances and they're missing them or they're not making the runs, but they're all doing the work. I would say Richarlison's shooting isn't great. It's not it's like he's too close to the keeper too often.
Well, Moani's
probably the same. He's done the same
in that PSG game when he had those chances. He looked very clinical.
Yeah. Again, so yeah, I mean, like Kudus, I don't know, he seems to have lost his way a little bit as the season's gone on. He started really strongly, but I'm like, as you say, is he following instruction or is this just his decision making? There's always space down the outside and he's not using it. So I don't understand if that's what he's been told to do or not. It's difficult to tell, right? But yeah, this is going to be an energy game, right? It's going to be getting players who can. We've got no Pape Matar, of course, because he's at
AFCON.
Basuma,
not that he's been playing, but he's also AFCON.
Yeah, so probably Bergvall might play. Probably Palhinha and Bentancur as a 2. Maybe Bergvall in front of them.
Thing is, there's room for Bergvall, as I've always said, for me in a more advanced role as well, in terms of playing in that pocket, because he get up and down.
He's a good 8, right?
Yeah.
And the same for Archie Gray. I still think that's his best position.
Actually thought Archie Gray did okay the other day. And I think he's so young still. There's so much more to come from him as a player. It's just dependent on what plays out. And as you said, it's true.
It's really hard to, with the quality of football we're playing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't, it's difficult to tell whether it's the coaching or something's not right.
Agreed.
And you wonder if it's a hangover from last season. Is it a mentality thing for the players? The players have seem to have just lost their way a bit.
But do you think, and I thought about this.
But that's the
other day.
coach's job, right? The manager and the coach's job.
It is. And I thought about this the other day. Like, do you think this was somewhat the drop-off of firing a manager who's finally got the monkey off our back in winning something, for good or bad, right? And whether you were Angie and Angel or somewhere in the middle, do you think that's going to have an impact, right, on the group of players? Do you think there's inevitable to be a bit of a drop-off both mentally, physically and tactically, in that you've almost ripped up the bloody playbook and said, well, we're starting again despite having success? Because there was success. Like, do you think that that's equaling some of that now, what we're seeing? And then
maybe. And of course, you lost
clear out.
Son left as well, which was there's a big presence in the dressing room, right? Especially with the younger players. Imagine he's the one who puts his arm around everyone.
Sure.
And I don't think Romero's that.
No.
If he does put his arm around you, it's probably to get you in a headlock.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that there's I think we talked about it, right? There's a footballing identity issue.
Big time.
What are we?
Yeah.
What kind of team are we? Because I'm not Frank's. I feel like he's too much of a chameleon, right? He's trying to
worry about what the other team are doing as well.
And we talked about that a bit. And I sometimes when we impose ourselves on teams, we need to do that on such certainty. Maybe against Liverpool, we actually, with the way they've been playing, we should have gone right at them. They were there for the taking. Yeah. They really were. They were not good. And in the end, we just let them get away with it, didn't we? So frustrating.
No, indeed. Well,
Palace, again, same thing. I think that we really need to keep possession. None of this sloppy, shitty passing we've been doing. We were giving the ball away too much.
I'm actually, and look, I don't know how it all works on how games are picked, but I'm staggered that Sky have picked that for the big main event on a Sunday of Christmas. It's 4:30 p.m. on a Sunday of Christmas weekend. I'm like, bloody hell, you could have picked something. It's not going to be a good game, in my opinion. It's going to be incredibly dull.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, don't think it'd be good. And then I think we need better possession. We've been really poor at that.
It's possession in the right areas, Graeme, right? It's all well and good having it in front of a team. I want to see us, like you said, having a go, getting in behind, having the fullbacks transition forward, having Kudos going over the halfway line and taking on a man. I would much rather he takes on a man and loses the ball.
I think that's the frustration, right? I'm okay with us losing the ball, trying to find a defence-splitting pass that gets us into a dangerous position in the final third, but we're giving the ball away, doing short passing in the middle of the pitch where we're not making enough progress up the pitch. So that's been 5-yard passes in midfield going to opposition players is schoolboy stuff.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's just pressure or confidence. I don't know what it is, but most of these are international players, but sometimes they do not play like it, and I understand where that comes from.
Yeah,
maybe they're feeling the pressure of expectation because things are going so. Maybe it's like self-fulfilling in the end.
But what expectation is that? Because I don't believe I'm not.
But the supporters in the stadium,
I think so. But the expectation from me, I know that we're not going to win every game. I know we're not going to win the league, right? I know that we'll probably maybe be top 8, top 6, and we're all.
But we can also see when they're trying and when they're not trying.
Yeah,
and 100%. I think that's the thing.
No, I totally agree.
And the frustrating thing is, it's difficult to know how much of it is the players and how much of it is the way we're set up.
Because if we looked at another scenario, let's say we lose to Palace, which is possible, and they do pull the pin on Frank. Do we then see a new manager bounce? Do we see an interim come in and then all of a sudden they get a tune out of this group of players, like sometimes happens? And then do we see another drop off when the new guy comes in, like in the summer? Like, I don't want that chaos again, but if we lose to Palace, I can see that, just like I could see why they got rid of Ange. I understood it. And I would understand if we lost to Palace, why they would get rid of Frank. I understand why they would do it.
There's logic behind both the decisions. You could look at the working out of the decision and say, well, actually, that's fair enough. Yeah. You don't have to agree with it, but you can say. Yeah. But I guess the issue here is, right, if we pull the plug now and we don't have a permanent replacement lined up immediately, I mean, like, sacked on a Thursday, new manager in on a Friday.
Much like what happened when we got Mourinho, when they fired Pot.
Exactly. Yeah. They'd done the deal before they pulled the pin on him. Then that's a problem, right? Because we can't afford to to have a manager hunt drag on through January.
Yeah. And
why would we commit large amounts of money in January to players if we don't know how we're going to be playing by the end of January?
I just mentioned him. There's no way Pochettino comes now. There's no way. For two reasons.
No.
One, I think the release is £20 million for him to get out of his contract with the US.
It's not worth it.
Why would he? He's about to embark on a home World Cup for the country he's managing. I know he's not American, but it's a free hit for him. There's not a great deal of pressure on them to get out of the group, I would suspect. I think there's, if you listen to some media,
Trump will just deport all the opposing players.
Yeah, and then point C being, if we did and he did, what would Trump do to him? He'd probably be sent to Guantanamo for leaving him.
There'll be an ice raid.
Yeah, ice raid on pot, yeah. So that's not going to happen. I mean, there's talk of other names that are available. I mean, Klopp keeps coming up. There's no way he comes to Spurs. I just don't see it. So then you're looking at, if we did get rid of Frank, it's an interim solution. Richard on the last episode mentioned Robbie Keane. There's
I don't think Robbie Keane comes as an interim.
Why would he give
I think he'll be
gig?
Building his career, and I don't think
correct. And
half a season at Tottenham is going to help that.
By coming to Spurs for 6 months.
This is not a 6 month. I mean, especially if we a change of manager at the moment, given that it's a transition of a transitions. First half of the season, one transition, and then another completely different transition in the second half.
Where do you sit with Frank's comments when he comes out and says, this isn't a quick fix? And I'm like, what was wrong, Frank? Like, what was really wrong? For me, it's like, yes, we finished 17th. We've won the Europa League. We're a Champions League club. We've made some additions in the summer. What was really wrong? Like, what's this fix that's going to take so long?
What I don't understand is, right, I think we were all clear that we were very, very light on squad last year, and that not only did we need to make significant improvements to the first 11, and we did spend money on that, right? We bought
over 100 million.
Yeah. On first 11 players, but we also, I think it was Thomas coined the phrase, we needed to raise the floor as well as the ceiling. So we needed to make sure that the squad itself was packed with better quality players. So we did some of that as well, right? We added some additional players. Like Dance is a good example of, a good understudy who will quite happily sit in the squad and come in when he's needed. And but it's still not enough. I don't think there's still work to be. There are key areas of the squad that are.
But that comes down, I guess, to recruitment.
Yeah, 100%. But it's not like, again, that's the bit that can't all be done in one go, right? You can't look at Liverpool's a great example where a championship winning side makes 7 signings.
Yeah, big signings too.
Significant money spent, like third world country debt worth of signings, and they look awful because it takes time to gel all of that together, right? It's just too much change in one go. So I think if Frank gets the time, it's probably 2 or 3 windows worth of play. I think it's probably this. He's had the summer. It will be the January window, and next summer, if he's still here for the summer window, then in theory you could have probably rotated out every player that was there from the previous regime, if that's what you wanted to do, or the majority of the ones that he didn't feel were up to the task. And at the moment, it's a very long list of people who I wouldn't cry about if they left.
Yeah.
But what worries me, even when our best players are playing, we're still making stupid mistakes. We're still conceding goals that you wouldn't expect with our first team players to be playing. And especially like when our first team back four is playing, we're still conceding more goals than we did under Ange when we had a makeshift back four. So that's an issue. Yeah, exactly. Or Dragusin and Gray, or we had like it was like a lucky dip, wasn't it, for a back four most of the last season.
So before we move away from it, the Palace game, are you daring enough to put a prediction on it? I mean, I think it'll be a dull, low-scoring game. I can see it being a 0-0. I really can. I can see us digging in and digging out a 0-0. I don't think it'll be very pleasing on the eye, though.
I don't think so either. I think I'll go 1-0. And I'm really having to struggle to see us getting something from the game, be honest. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost 2-1 or something, but I'll go 1-1.
Yeah. I can absolutely see it, yeah. And then, obviously, the transfer window opens in 7 days or 8 days.
Yeah.
But we've had a notable departure, not on the playing staff, but Matty Wells has joined Colorado Rapids as their head coach. If he wants a
Yeah.
rental to live in, I'm happy to evict my current tenants because my house in Denver's like a 10-minute drive from the stadium.
Yeah.
So, but interesting exit in that he was more than just probably an assistant coach in that he got Tottenham. It was in his blood, wasn't it? Because his uncle, was it his great uncle or grandfather was was it John White or who was, because he had some relation, didn't he, where he was quite well connected to the club, I would say.
Yeah.
In terms
correct.
of what he offered. So
yeah, he had family history there.
Yeah. Interesting departure there. And obviously, from all accounts, a decent footballing brain. So he's gone. And then I called this, and we'd have to go back to the archives to reaffirm exactly what I said. But when Parratici and Langer were announced as a joint part, I said, there's no way that lasts. There's no way that role is going to be fulfilled by two people and it's going to go well. Well, lo and behold, Parratici is looking like he's going to Fiorentina as their director of football.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Because it's like
a Levy appointment, though, was he? When he came back, was that under Levy?
Sure, it must have been around the same time, right? Because the announcement was done by Vinay.
Yeah.
So when he said that it was going to be joint. Again, you said it definitely at the time. That ain't going to last till March. Yeah. And it'd be lucky if it lasts to Christmas at this range. I don't know. It's weird, right? I think there's some benefits from having Parratici because he's different from Langer, right? He goes after different deals. He moves in different circles, but he's quite limited in the pool of players that he seems to work with, right? He seems to recycle the same players a lot from the same teams that he's worked at before.
Bit like Harry Redknapp with Nico Cranchar and Jermaine Defoe.
Exactly. They were like they were in his hand baggage every time he went between clubs. But I don't know. I can't even begin to guess why he would choose to go to Fiorentina over staying, unless, as you say, whether him coming back was a Levy decision because maybe Levy felt he could work with him or wanted to work with him, and maybe the deal was already signed and the club couldn't undo that quickly. But we don't know how much he's been working in the background on transfers, right? We just don't know. Maybe he leaves at the end of the transfer window after he's completed it.
Quite possibly. Who knows? I mean, he might have some players in the. Do you know what? He almost acts more like an agent, doesn't he? In terms of
a bit,
relationship.
He's like one of those super agents.
Yeah, and players that you can get over the line. Because I think it was Sarr, Kulusevski, Romero. I think Vicario, Bentancur.
Yeah,
there's been good players that he's unearthed, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
I think Udogie was another one.
I think he had more hits than misses.
Yeah,
but we did have a few misses, but not as. I think generally you'd say he had a pretty good hit rate, probably more so than what was the guy's name before him? Steve
Hitchens,
the one who hated the transfer windows.
Was he the Aussie?
Steve Hitchens. Steve
Hitchens, and then there was also Scott Munn, and no one really understood what Scott Munn did.
I don't think Munn ever really set foot in Tottenham. I just don't think he's a real person. I think he was an AI avatar.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I think it was Hitchin. He, never really.
And then
we've had a really terrible run of people in that role or similar roles, right? I think we've either had people that were good at their job but couldn't work with Daniel Levy, or were not good at their job and still couldn't work with Daniel Levy. None of which really led to really good transfer outcomes. I think we spent a lot of money on mediocre players, and I don't think we can afford to do that going forward. Right? If you look back over the 10 seasons, right, we've probably been up there with the biggest clubs in terms of spending in the Premier League, with maybe one or two notable exceptions, like probably Chelsea are probably the top by far, certainly in the last 5 years. But we've wasted it. We've literally just poured it down the toilet, most of it, haven't we? The amount
Absolutely.
We've never, since Kane and Son really became since Pochettino, there are very few players we brought in that have really improved the first 11.
Exactly. When you can say they've come in and they've been a marquee sign and made a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even Maddison, he's been okay at times, but he's not been, It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the January window for several reasons. Will it be Frank that gets given the money to spend? Because there is going to be money to spend. And it's going to be interesting to see who be signed. And that's a nice pivot. Just as recently as today, I've read that Semenyo's in advanced talks with Man City. So
Yeah.
there
I
goes.
don't think we were never getting him.
Yeah.
We never were.
So, but does that open
And
the
especially
opportunity?
I think this is where being 14th, if we'd have been in, contending top 4, maybe he'd have thought about it, but he's not.
Well,
He's
does
got
that open the door for Savinho to be those conversations to start again if they brought
maybe,
Savinho?
but then I thought I heard that Pep would block it again because he signed a new contract, didn't he?
Yeah.
So
And
I
then
don't know.
Brennan Johnson, we've talked about possibly going to Palace.
Palace, yeah.
But then we are apparently sniffing around Mateta. Does that mean that it could be a sweetener there? If he goes, we get Mateta.
Yeah.
But are we going to get Mateta and then he just falls into the abyss of being injured? Like what seems to happen when we sign
falls
players?
into the abyss of being a Spurs player.
Yeah, exactly. Come to Spurs.
I don't
You'll
know.
never play again.
I'm just trying to think what other options we've got. I've seen Ndoye, is it the
Ndoye from
Everton player?
Yeah. But
I just don't,
again,
he's not. He looks okay, but he's not got a lot of goals and assists.
Mateta and Ndoye, they're useful. They've done a good job for Everton and Palace, but it doesn't get me
Still,
out.
I stand by the fact that Grealish would have been a much better signing.
It would have just been
at the beginning of the start of the season. Yeah,
would have made so much sense, but we didn't.
Yeah, and he's really high output for Everton this season.
Oh, he's been brilliant, and he has an eye on wanting to get in that World Cup squad, right? So you know you're always going to get a level out of him. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I didn't have a great deal else for today's episode. Sorry, it's just the two of us to our listeners and viewers. You put up with just our faces and voices.
As you can see in the background, I have been wrapping my wife's presents.
Wrapping gifts. Yeah, indeed. I've got a few more to wrap.
I checked the list twice, and she'd been nice, so she's getting presents this year.
Well, look, as always from me, this will be the last one I expect of 2025. But as always from me, come on, you Spurs.
Well, I think we might record before New Year's Day, right after the Palace game.
Yeah,
we'll try and squeeze one in somewhere along the line
before we get to 2026. But as always from me, come on, you Spurs, and have a wonderful Christmas. I don't know if Graeme, you've got anything to add
to say thank you to all of our listeners and viewers who've stuck with us for what is a season and a half now. So we've lasted longer than a lot of Tottenham managers have. And appreciate all of you. We've had some really fantastic guests and looking forward to many more recordings with new guests and old guests alike. I'm hoping that 2026 will be the start of a renaissance in Tottenham, and we see some improvement, and that we have much more positive things to talk about. I felt certainly for the last couple of months that it's been really hard to get ourselves excited.
I'm sure I don't speak just for me. I don't want Thomas Frank to be sacked. I don't like sacking managers.
No, likewise. I quite like him. I just think that it's a results-driven game, and eventually they will catch up with him.
Yeah,
and I don't want that to be the case, as you said. But
let's call it what it is.
Here's the thing: I'm hoping that for Christmas, Thomas Frank gets something that gets some magic elixir, which means that the players suddenly turn into the players that we expect them to be, and that the game on the 28th is the start of a massive resurgence of the team, and then January means we bolster the numbers and we go strong into 2026.
Let's hope. And
hopefully into the latter stages of the Champions League, and maybe even the FA Cup as well. My prediction for next year, and I think I said it early in the season, I said that Kadamwani would be our top goal scorer. I think at the moment it might be OG.
Yeah.
But Richarlison, whatever you think about Richarlison, and I don't have a lot of very positive things to say about him, because he's still scoring consistently, right? His goal output's been pretty good.
Red, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but to your point with Champions League, like I want over my left shoulder just there. I want more moments like that. The Lucas Moura moment.
Yeah.
Let's get into the knockout. I like those evenings. I like those experiences.
So I have you probably can't just out of shot, but I have the team notes from the semi-final against Ajax.
Well, and this will be a bit of a plug.
This is the Europa League final team picture. Yeah, that's the one. I've got that one.
Yeah, we've had more. I haven't got it up. I didn't get it up. I just got it framed and saw it. But we've had more recent fun. So yeah,
that's exactly the Ajax one.
Yeah. So Tottenham Man United. So I like European fun. Like, let's have more of that, please.
Yeah,
Indeed.
that would be great.
But yeah, look, one more from me as always. To close us out from my perspective, come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast, tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And as Glenn said, wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, and come on, you Spurs.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.